members of the jury of the Indira Gandhi Prize, trustees of the Indira Gandhi Memorial Trust, friends. To begin with, I would like to pay tribute to the memory of our former President, Sri Pranab Mukherjee, who chaired the jury for the prize for 3 years and who passed away last month. It was under his guidance that last November the prize was awarded to Sir David. We are very sorry to miss him on this occasion. I am honored to have been able to symbolically present the Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament and Development to Sir David Attenborough. This award today is a unique conjugation because we know how much our late Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi herself, was concerned and involved with the protection of the environment and the natural world. As we have just heard from the chairperson, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. There can therefore be no more deserving recipient of the award at this time when the world is gripped by growing anxiety over the state of our environment and our planet. If anyone who can be described as a living legend in the context of the natural world, it is Sir. Over 7 decades, he has been, if I can put it in this way, the human voice of nature. He has delighted us, entertained us, informed us, and united us with nature in all its glories. Animate or inanimate, there is nothing on earth that has escaped his attention, and there is little that has not been better understood for the knowledge and experience he has brought to bear on it. Through the medium of films, so many of which have been prize winning creations, books, articles, talks, he has vividly brought life for millions upon millions around the world, from children to aging adults, the wonders, beauties, and mysteries of the natural world. In recent times, Swift has become one of the most vocal and effective advocates of environmental protection, raising his voice against the wanton destruction of the natural world in the name of progress and the seemingly insatiable needs of the human race. He has warned of disaster if things turn around, and he has solutions to offer. I understand that in the coming months he is releasing a documentary, A Life on Our Planet, A Life on Our Plant, which he describes as his witness statement and offers us hope that, as he puts it, human beings can work with nature rather than against nature. But it doesn't need an epidemic to tell us that we are not in good shape. Climate change, the assault on the oceans, the pollution of the atmosphere, the junk floating about in space, the reduction of forest cover, the extinction of life in rivers, the reduction of natural habitat for any life other than humans All this is evident to anyone who has eyes to see. To be sure, there is an acute dilemma here. Millions people live in abject poverty. Millions around the world do not have enough food, clean water and surroundings, a minimum acceptable standard of living. In the name of development, nature bears the brunt with its long-term crippling effects on that very quality of life we are trying to improve. But like Sir David, I believe that it is possible for us to respect boundaries, to be aware always of the costs of economic development, to refrain from excesses, from ignorant or willful actions that ultimately rebound on us. In India, during the time that I was Prime Minister, we were conscious of our duty to accelerate economic development and raise the standard of living of our people, especially those in poverty. This is, after all, the first priority of any government. At the same time, we were very selective in allowing projects that impacted the wilderness or the habitat of wildlife. Indeed, we were criticized by industrialists and those who thought we were going to being too restrictive. But I believe that if a proper balance is not firmly held, the results are deleterious and self-defeating. We were also an active voice in international forums and discussions on issues concerning the environment, and I like to think we've made positive contributions to the protection of the planet. I hope this award, one among the many that Sir David has received in recognition of his work, will help take the message of Sir David's life and work further. It's a message that needs to be heeded across the world by leaders who make policies and by the people who elect them or influence them in other ways. I look forward greatly to hearing him deliver his acceptance speech. I thank you.